Well, well, well. Looks like the new Boston Harbor ceiling fan has just came. This is the one that I made as a surprise for when I get back from New York City. This is a Boston Harbor outdoor rated ceiling fan. And I got this from the same hardware store in New York City as that other Boston Harbor fan. Fun fact, it's actually here right now. So this was about $90, which pretty cheap for one of these Boston Harbor fans. I think the one that Amazon sells is like 130 or something like that. Which 130 I really don't think is that bad at all for one of these, because when you go to Home Depot, you're not going to see much there below 150. And those models that are below 150, with the exception of Littleton, which is also getting up there now, are all hideous. So I do think that 130 for something like this is totally acceptable. I mean, $90 is even better in my opinion. Or really, in anybody's opinion, it is a lot better. So, without further to do, let's go ahead and. Oh, and there's some other stuff I want to show you. This is rated to push 5,557 CFM, which is pretty close to the ratings as the other two 52-inch Boston Harbor fans I did. So maybe this box is actually halfway accurate. It also says 13-degree blade pitch. That's very respectable for something like this. So I'm thinking this might even perform a little bit better than the other two Boston Harbor fans I had. The other two Boston Harbor fans I had, they were very respectable, especially for economy grade products. We'll open the box now. All right. All right, let's go ahead and show you guys what we have in the box. We have some manuals here. It looks like it's the same three that we've seen in the other Boston Harbor fans, but with the outdoor rated fan, of course. Here's the blades, which we have 5 blades, so that's good. Nothing in here got missing. And it looks like we don't have anything else on the box. Here is the blade irons, which I'm gonna see something real quick. Here's the other fan that I have here. That's also Boston Harbor branded. These irons look like they're a bit bulkier. The box claims that these are, in fact, 13-degree blade pitch. This is what the pitch looks like. It's very respectable. So, the quality isn't too shabby in that department. All right. All right, so looks like we have lower canopy, And we have a pull chain. We have the blade balancing kit. What a waste. There's nobody that uses those. Looks like we got the hardware pack as well. Here is the mounting bracket and the upper canopy. Unfortunately, this has silver hardware. Well, I'm glad I didn't pay $130 for this now. Here's the down rod. Is this plastic or is that metal? You know what? Let's open it up and check. This is metal, so that is made correctly. Delicious. It came with 3 packets of silica gel. That's gonna go well with my chicken tonight. And here is the motor. Sadly, this is not a 4.5 motor. Like it would have been cool on the other fans. And got some junk on here. Well, it's coming off, so that's just fine. And looks like we have a date of May of 2017. Oh, brother. It's been sitting in the box for a decade now. That tends to invite bearing issues. So, I don't know. I hope it's okay. The good news is we have a screwdriver in here, so I can make sure if the bearings are still good or not. Alright, let's remove these stoppers that are here on the motor. I really don't know why they had to add these stoppers. They don't serve a purpose other than just making the fact that you can't spin the fan, which not doing this step would be extra helpful, honestly. Oh dear. Are we missing a screw? Alright, let's spin it by hand. Oh dear. Sounds like the bearings are a little bit noisy. Well, realistically speaking, it's not going to go as fast as what I put it on, so it's... The bearings are likely okay, but... I don't know. I guess we'll have to find out once we get it installed. But bearings being bad, that's not really a function of it being a bad product. I think it's just a function of it sitting in the box for too long, or the box for too long. So, yeah. Hopefully there's an extra screw in there to replace that one. If not, I have other screws I can deal with that. But right now I have to get to bed. But I will see you guys tomorrow afternoon, probably. Let's go ahead and get this stuff put together. Go ahead and open up the bag. We have this lower canopy here. We have the pull fob. Hope that's showing well in the video. You have the wire nuts and some wood screws if you choose not to use an electrical box. We have the blade screws. We have this extra screw. And we have the foam thingies. And we have the balancing kit. What a waste. Nobody ever uses those things. Here's the canopy. Very standard ball socket mount. Here's my food. Okay, where did my down rod go? Here it is. Had a moment of panic there. All right. This, I think, is the lower canopy. This is definitely the lower canopy. There's a document here. It's just a one-sided. The Rubbermaid canopy is waterproof. For licing on wet location ceiling fan, please refer step hanging the fan and installation instruction for right installing. Don't tell me what to do. I'm doing whatever to think it is. All right. So this right here goes through the down rod. Then this. Oh boy. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to resort to reading the instruction manual. I find these are pretty well made manuals. Thought this was gonna be relatively free sailing at this point. Clearly I was wrong. All right. Yeah, it says here it's... Okay, that's the wrong page. Yeah, it's literally supposed to go over the bottom of the down rod, so I don't know why this is not. All right, well, you know what? I might just see if loosening the ball will do anything. It might. There we go. And this we can't really do a whole lot of force for. We just have to kind of let it take its time. We don't want anything to break. All right. And we have this right here. We have this. Hope it's showing well in the camera. Alright, wait, is it? Yeah, it should be showing plenty well on the camera. Alright, and then we have this row. Alright. All right. And now we have this screw. And then we have this pin here. Why is this not getting through? There we go. It's because of that tag. And we have, oh, that's just a problem. There's some excess sealant in there. That's a problem. This is so ridiculous. Why did they have to do this? That is ridiculous. I'm pretty sure somebody is going to be screaming in the comments box. Why are you doing this? Well, I can't get the down rod in if this junk is in here. I suppose this is just sealant to like keep the water out of everything. In concept, I think it's okay, but there's just so much extra in there, it's unusable. Alright. Now let's see if this will work. Nope, we gotta get a vertical a little bit more. Alright. Alright, well. All right. All right. And then we have this pin as well. All right. And we also have to tighten the set screw as well. All right, that should be good. There we go. Awesome, that part's done. Now let's get the blades put together. These are nice, heavy plastic blades. Nothing cheap. Or cheap feeling. We also have these screws to put on. Now, I suppose maybe brass finishes or brass plating fades too much in the outdoors, and that's why they chose silver. But knowing Boston Harbor, silver is just a really chintzy finish, especially knowing that all the others from Boston Harbor were brass hardware, which in my opinion is much nicer looking than the stinking silver. Yeah, this is a very respectable blade. Hope the camera's still recording. I know that I'm almost out of storage here, so I'm kind of moving quicker than I usually do. Yeah, that blade pitch is no joke for something that's lower end, or supposed to be lower end. And I love the way how they do the packaging for the blades. Like, this is going to be a lot easier when I put this back in storage. Like, usually the blades are wrapped in some plastic that once you have to open up the blades, the packaging is destroyed completely. And then that's so much of a pain to get the blades in storage correctly so that they don't get damaged in the future. And also this line right here as well. This is made so that the blade doesn't get warped while it's outside. Which you want that side up, otherwise the blades are not going to move much air. And that being said, I can't imagine that the reverse on this fan is going to be that useful because of the fact that this is really not aerodynamic on that side, but this side is, which is why they're telling you to make it make the side with the line face up. Alright, last blade, and then we'll be able to hang this up. And it looks like they gave us an extra screw, which is pretty nice for not losing these things. I was just making sure it was still recording. My hands are getting sore from putting these together so fast. Alright, all done. Now let's hang this on the ceiling. Now let's go ahead and install the fan now. The mounting bracket hooked up, or hanging, I should say. Alright. Now we have these screws, which are stinking silver. I think that was a pretty bad choice for screw color. Although I could understand the fact it is an outdoor rated ceiling fan, they might be concerned that the brass tone might tarnish in the outside, so if that's the reason, that's a totally valid reason. Overall, this thing, for something made newer, is not hideous at all. And it is still largely, it is still under manufacture today, so you really can't say anything bad about that. Okay, is this in the socket now? Okay. We're not going to bother with the safety cable thing because we really don't need it since we're not in Canada. Now let's get the ground wires hooked up. Alright, now we'll get the neutral hooked up. I've noticed this on a lot of Boston Harbor fans as well, is the fact that, what am I trying to say? The ground wires are silver, but the regular wires, the fan, the light, and the neutral, are copper. So, I mean, the grounds are still silver, but that really doesn't matter since it really doesn't power anything. It just provides an extra thing of safety, and I am pretty sure aluminum will do that. But the other wires are still copper, so that does show another, that should be another clue that this is very good quality. All right, now we'll get these wires shoved up into the box, or the box. All right. All right. And the other side. All right. There we go. Let's go ahead and on it real quick to make sure that's gonna work. Well, that works. Let's make sure reverse works. Yep, that works. All right, we're good to put the blades on now. Now we have to take these screws out. The bearings in this thing, I think, will be satisfactory. I mean, I think there is a chance they will have to get replaced because the bearings are kind of loud on this thing. But the bearings being loud, that's really no fault of the fan being bad quality. That's really more of a fault of it sitting in storage for too long. Ceiling fans were not meant to be sitting in storage for decades on end. While this one's from 2017, so it's not really that old. 2017 was 9 years ago, so that's getting pretty close to a decade. And even a decade for ceiling fans, that's still a long time to be sitting in the box for. It is kind of disappointing to me that this does not have a 4-blade configuration, because I really wanted to see how this would perform in a 4-blade configuration. And I do have in my collection somewhere a 2000s, more modern styling than this, ceiling fan that is also rated for outdoor use. And that one, I think, is a Canadian model because that has a reverse pull chain. And it has this plastic extra thing to keep the water out of the switch. And I kind of doubt this is trying to imitate a Vineyard, but the fact that it has these plastic blades and the blades and the blade irons are very similar style to this. This kind of does remind me of a Hampton Bay Vineyard. The motor housing is totally different on this, though. All right. Blade number 3 to put on. The pitch on the irons is pretty steep too. I think most of the Boston Harbor fans had a 10-degree blade pitch, which is nothing to write home about. 13 degrees, while that's not 14 degrees like it would be the best, 13 is still a very respectable number, especially given the fact this is supposed to be a cheaper, more economy grade fan. We'll talk about pricing of this in a little bit, but I paid only $90 for this thing, so that, I think, is a pretty good deal for one of these. And by no means, in my opinion, is it that bad at all, because I think I don't even know if Home Depot even has many outdoor rated ceiling fans. I think the outdoor rated ceiling fans sold there are like those kind of leaf blade shaped ones. Not the Hampton Bay Nassau. The Hampton Bay Nassau has been long gone. But I am pretty sure that Home Depot still has a couple of the ceiling fans with the leaf blade shape. Although there's really not much to compare a fan like this to, so although I am pretty sure the cheapest of that category would be over $100, so $90 for this, I think it is more than acceptable for something like this. All right, I'm gonna put the camera down here a little bit, and I'll get the pull chain. All right, now let's give this a test. Here's low. All right, I think that's fast enough to where we can get a CFM on this. I'm gonna go with about 137 on this. So in the area that I'm gonna do, which I'm also gonna have to calculate as well. Yeah, I can't feel any air up to that point. So I'm gonna go with about. I'm gonna go with a 10-inch circle of cutout from the middle, because I can't feel any more air once the iron point ends about here. So This is a 52-inch fan, so we're going to put 52 divided by 2. It's 26. We're going to take that divided by 12, which is about 2.2 if you round to the nearest tenth. So 2.2 squared times pi is going to be 15.2. And we also have to calculate the area that has no air. So we're going to go with 10 divided by 12. That's 0.83. 0.83 squared times pi is 2.2. So we're going to go with 15.2 minus 2.2. It's 13. So, all right, so we're going to go with 13 times, I think I said 137. I'm going to make sure that I did get it right. Yep, 137. So that's going to be 1,781 CFM. And the power draw is 9 watts and 0.19 amps. So we're going to also do the power factor as well. So in this case, since we're running on 120 volts, we're going to go voltage times amps, which I get 22.8. And we're going to do 9 divided by 22.8. And I end up with 0.395. So the power factor is kind of abysmal, but this is using very little electricity. We're going to go on medium. I am hearing the bearing noise a little bit, but it's not to the point where it would bug me. I mean, the airflow noise is kind of outperforming that noise, so really it wouldn't bother me. And I think the bearings just need a break-in period right now, so I think that's what it is. Okay, we're gonna go with Gonna go with 334. So 334 times 13 is gonna be 4,342 CFM. So I would say that's pretty good for a fan like this. And the power information is 29 watts and 0.35 amps. So 120 times 0.35 is 42, and 29 divided by 42 is 0.69. So power factor is still not very good, but it's still quite efficient. Now high. Let's do another CFM test. We're gonna go with 472. So 472 times 13 6,136 CFM. This is really quite a high performance fan. That's actually above average for something like this. Power information is 61 watts and 0.49 amps. So 120 times 0.49 is 58.8. We're going to divide that by 61. Power factor is 1.037. So the power factor here is 1 in this case. So, and just so you guys know, the reason why I have a calculator as well for the power factor is because my meter does not do power factor. So it is a cheaper one from Menards. So unfortunately, it's not gonna have that. It's crazy to think about that, in my opinion, because I think the power factor is an important factor to consider here. And we're gonna reverse it here, make sure that works. Yep, looks like that's working just fine. Put it back to forwards. Now, talking about price with this fan, and I'm pretty sure I am going to get a lot of comments in the comments box saying, oh, this is so expensive. Well, this thing is not that cheap. I paid $90 for this fan. And I don't know what other fans you would compare this to. I would say the closest I could think about for this is a turn of the century from Menards. I think the Leaf blade ones, I think those are over $150, if not in the 200s. It's probably in the 200s at this point. So this thing is considerably cheaper than that, but it's a lot more classic looking, and in my opinion, it's a lot better quality. So I think this is worth every penny worth $90. Now, the $90 price tag, that's not going to be found anywhere by any means. In fact, I think the MRO website sells these for $117, which still considering how expensive ceiling fans are nowadays, that's not that bad of a price, I don't think. I'd say this thing is worth every penny, $90. And in case you guys are wondering where I found this, there was a hardware store in New York City that I went to on a trip at school, and I saw this on the shelf and I was gonna buy that. And I know a lot of people were like, that's not gonna go through security, and it's not going to because it's over the carry-on limit. But we have a suitcase trailer that drives probably 48 hours to us, so that took a fair bit of time to get this here, but I think it's worth it. But this thing was on the store shelf. It was sold for on sale for $90. Given this thing is from 2017, they were probably like, we are sick of staring at this thing. We gotta sell this thing. So I'm glad they did. And $90 for something like this, I think that's pretty shockingly cheap for New York City as well, because in New York City, everything is too overpriced. So I really think this is worth every penny, $90. Even the fact this has stinking silver hardware, which I could see why they did it, because brass finishes are going to tarnish if they're outdoors. And this is an outdoor rated ceiling fan, so I think the call to make it silver, though I don't like the silver finish, I think that finish choice was done within reason. Alright, now I'll turn this thing off, and that's it for the fan part. Now I gotta make dinner. Today we're gonna be making silica gel seasoned chicken. I cut a whole chicken, put it all in this bowl. I didn't show it on video because it's time consuming, and it was my first time cutting a chicken, so I think I did a fairly decent job for my first time, but I think this is where one of those things where practice makes perfect. Good thing we have a big chicken tonight because we're gonna need 3 silica gel packets for this dinner tonight. Wait a minute, this is an unusual color. That's weird. Well, anyway, let's start mixing it up. I highly doubt that this is going to be enough. I think this looks pretty good. Let's put it in the air fryer. It's all done. Hope you guys enjoyed the video of hanging the Boston Harbor ceiling fan, and at the end, reusing the silica gel to make a delicious, nutritious meal.